Try not to promote anything with mine.
I feel bad. Oh no, it's okay.
I told my wife, don't talk about our beats.
Yeah.
Talk about all their stuff. Talk about our show.
Yeah.
I don't think they're working on roasters all the time. Probably not in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I heard that like all right, well, welcome in to not the Fat Beans Brewing or Roasting Laboratory. We have taken the show on the road and we are borrowing someone else's lab for the afternoon.
Yeah, it's finally happening.
Yeah, so we've been promoting going to some different places for quite some time now, really since the stream started. And Kyle Ross, our favorite returning guest, he's come through in the clutch, and we are in downtown Kansas City at Messenger's Quality Control Lab. And I will say it's definitely an upgrade from what's sitting in the van down in the basement.
Yeah.
So welcome in. We're going to be doing some really cool stuff today, primarily with espresso because that is the kind of where we fall short. We also have, we'll try to show you guys around a little bit as this is where Messenger not only produces all their coffee, tries, this is the lab that they do all their quality assurance, everything here is done in this room. Well, there's another room over there. But one of you, as in Belvarte, she's selling art here today. So we'll be popping in on her in a minute and checking that out. So here with Veggie Beer and here as long as we can till the family thing we need to do. But we'll catch the replay for sure. Well, we thank you for dropping in. We're going to be peeling back the onion layers of espresso today because, full disclosure, I know nothing about espresso. Now, not that I don't know nothing. It's just it is a culture and world up into itself because it is definitely the most high end of coffee. It's probably where I can go most. But that's why we have Kyle Ross here. He's going to try to get us up to speed on A, what is espresso? B, why is espresso? C, some of the machines that go into making espresso and why it is kind of the it's been really regulated to coffee shops. There is a lot of production that goes into it, and then some of the cool things you can do and just kind of bounce around. As always, your guys' questions are going to kind of direct where we go, or we're just going to sit here and drink a bunch of coffee.
Yeah.
So if you have questions, I know I have a bunch, so I'll be kind of filing in questions where I see them. We're going to be treating Kyle as kind of the master here, as this is as humble as he likes to be. This is his profession. He does. How many shots do you say you pull in a given day, Kyle?
Dozens.
Dozens.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, probably
in the hundreds. So he's doing this 100 times a day. I've probably, full disclosure, have drank probably 30 espressos in my lifetime.
Really?
So what you can do in about an hour, I've drank in a whole lifetime. So this is going to be educational at the least. So we'll get into it here in a minute. But first, I'm going to give you guys kind of a little tour around the lab.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump to, so there's the espresso machine. So, Kyle. The background there is downtown Kansas City.
Yeah.
Julie, she's putting us on Instagram right now. If you can see through this window, here, you'll see that that's a San Franciscan. I don't know the exact weight. I don't really want to go and start messing around with the roasters out my first day here. But that is a pretty big roaster, not like huge, so they can still consider themselves small batch roasters. They do have a smaller roaster behind that, but it's just those two roasters do all of the roasting for Messenger. Obviously, they'll have it during a weekday. They'll have it going for an 8-hour workday, but that's it. This one right here, see, get our attention. You see, there's Belle Marte from the chat. She can see, that's pretty meta. She can see herself. And this is a active coffee shop. So we'll try to behave ourselves so the people that are faking reading books don't get too put off. Even though they're probably only get 2 pages in their Nicholas Sparks novels. There's Belle Marte's screen printing. She's been having a good day today. So if you want to check her out, Belle Marte on Instagram, where she is selling her screen prints. She's doing some really cool work. Along with that, if you want to see her work in action, check out Belle Marte. There it is. Those are screen printed by her. So, all right. So we'll line our camera back up here. For here. Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to. Hello, August. My son's back here too. He's B-Man 2 in the training back there. But what we're going to do is we're going to probably focus most of the show around espresso.
Yeah.
Because Kyle, tell us about this machine. Tell us what it is, what it can do, and really how much does it cost?
Yeah. So this, I don't know how much it costs exactly, but
if you were to ballpark,
probably $5,000.
So $5,000. Now, first coffee maker I ever had was a drip coffee maker that I got from a yard sale for $1.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't have change and they gave it to me for free.
Yeah.
So this puppy here costs 5,000 of those.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, so basically espresso is just coffee, but it's brewed under pressure. So this has boilers in it that are able to hold water, heat it up. And then once you brew it, it's able to push it out at 9 bars of pressure. So that's like 9 atmospheres of pressure. Also, it has steam for steaming milk.
You gotta let me know about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
steam and pressure. That's
So-
what makes it special.
It's got 2 water boilers in here, so that's primarily what's making up the mass, is that it's boiling water in here.
Yeah.
From that boiling water, it's both making steam and pressure. And then what are these things? Like, is
Is
that like a nose?
This is called a portafilter. So this is where. No. So this, it's just a little metal holder with tiny holes in there, and this is what you fill with the espresso.
And for Instagram, if you're intrigued by learning about espresso or just seeing 2 adults hanging out on a Saturday making coffee, well, you can come join us on Twitch, Fat Beans Coffee Lab.
Yeah.
We're going to be going through, doing a lot, and as you can probably already tell, we've been trying out the espresso. So the Bean Man is at about 11 right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we can get me up to 15.
All right.
So, what I think we should do is, I think we should just make an espresso shot.
Cool.
So we'll put the camera on you,
Okay.
and we'll just let you kind of walk us through making espresso. Now, Kyle works at a coffee shop. So those of you that are like, I've never had espresso, tell them all the drinks that espresso is used to make. Because I think a lot of times when people buy drinks, they don't actually know that they're fancy and they're drinking espresso.
Yeah.
So tell them about all the things that espresso is used, because full disclosure, until a couple of years ago, I didn't know.
Yeah. So basically, anything that you order at a coffee shop that isn't drip coffee uses espresso. So, like lattes, macchiatos, cappuccinos, those are all drinks that are made with a shot of espresso and then steamed milk. Yeah. So pretty much, really anything that's drip coffee, not tea, will be espresso and then something else added to it.
So cappuccino, macchiato,
Yeah.
latte, caramel macchiato,
Yeah.
Laka Laka Macchiato,
All
7 Drip, chocolate, swirl, pumpkin, vanilla.
Yeah.
That's all starting with an espresso as a base.
Yeah.
So espresso, how of your job, so drip coffee, pour over coffee, how much is focused on this machine, running this machine?
I'd say probably like 80.
So this, you could say that in a coffee shop, this is like the heart of any good,
Yeah.
well, traditional style coffee shop. Now, obviously, there are coffee shops that are going to focus on different things, but so if you were going to open a coffee shop, probably where you want to spend most of your money, your time, your focus is going to be on a machine like this.
Yeah.
So tell us what makes a good espresso.
So it really kind of depends, like what makes a good one. They all have different features. Like this is a pretty straightforward one. You just push a button, water comes out. You push a button, and it stops. It also has a timer. There's other super fancy espresso machines. Like you can go crazy with it. There's some that have like, you can like program the temperature like throughout the shot. There's ones with like scales that are built into it. Like, you can like do all kinds of stuff. Espresso machines, but I've done water pressure steam. Really neat.
Be Misfit, I'm glad we finally can come to you in Hungary. So we have our first Hungarian viewer with B Misfit. He originally was my roommate in college, and now he is on to more European travels. So if you're hanging out in Hungary there, maybe the Hungarians will enjoy the espresso information. All right, so Kyle, I won't tarry anymore. I'll let you do what you do. Just kind of hang out. I'll run the camera here. Run the chat too. I'm not home yet. I'm in Croatia. All right. Well, always the international traveler. Hungary has some BS rule. My vaccine doesn't count. Well, there you go. What is that? Vaccine hierarchy. Nice to know. They won't let us get an immunity card unless you got the vaccine in Hungary. I hear those Hungarian vaccines are the best. All right. So, Kyle, what do you do?
So, basically, just like you talked about, recipes for espresso. styles of espresso. The one that we're doing today is called ristretto. That just means that the weight of the beans going in is going to equal the weight of the liquid that comes out. It's going to be super concentrated.
So what is what's the balance you're using?
So I'm using coffee in.
So just to give you guys some perspective while he's working on that, it's 25 grams in, 25 grams out. To compare that to the pour over that he modeled us, that was 16 grams, 130, and 230 grams out, correct?
No, that was actually, it was 20 grams in, 330 grams out.
So 20 and 330, this is going to be 25, 25.
Yeah.
So when they say, that this is a intense coffee, that's essentially what they're alluding to, is that you're breaking the coffee down. He just ground it super, super, super fine. In fact, the grinder that we normally use probably can't even achieve a uniform grind at the level that we need for this machine. And it's going to be a very, very super concentrated cup of coffee. I think it's. Oh.
Yeah.
All there. What is this shop we're in? This is Messenger Coffee Shop. They are both a specialty coffee roaster and coffee shop in Kansas City, downtown Kansas City, Missouri. They, like I said, they are primarily specialty coffee in that all the coffee they have is scoring 80 and above. They're kind of a Cadillac. This is really, when I moved to Kansas City, this was kind of the coffee that I started to move myself towards coming from Houston. Everyone said Messenger is the best, and it has held up as probably the best that we can achieve in Kansas City. They do it right down here. So hats off to them for letting us use their shop. So why do you have to grind it that fine? That's a good question.
So because it's made under such high pressure, and the brew time is only about 30 seconds compared to 3 minutes. In order to be able to extract from the coffee, you need the grind.
So it needs, because the contact of the water is only 30 seconds. Now again, comparing that to a pour over that you're going about 2.5 to 3 minutes, 30 seconds of the water, and it's not much water. So you want to make sure that the saturation and the extraction can happen as good as possible.
Yeah.
You need to create as much surface area as possible. So that is where the pressure is coming in. Because you have fine coffee, if you were just to pour the water over, the water would just sit on top, almost like water sitting in really thick clay. The water is being forced down by 9 bars of pressure, as you kind of just alluded. That's 9 atmospheres. So to give you kind of how much pressure is in there, your head would pop right off your shoulders. So it's very, very, very pressurized. But what it's doing is it's forcing that hot water down through. What's also happening, and we're not going to get too much into the science of it, is there's heat is being generated. So along with it being boiling water being put over the coffee grounds, that's also increasing the extraction. So this is a very, very heavily extracted little bit of coffee. And yeah, you're getting that's a good wince, by the way. But you're getting almost a full cup of coffee in a little sip.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the flavors that you look for in espresso. So what am I tasting?
So for ristretto espresso, it's basically just balance. You don't want it to be too sour or too bitter. Dark chocolatey balanced flavor. There are, as with everything in coffee, a lot of people will do things differently. So there are a lot of single origin espresso that will try to make it super fruity or super caramely. Yeah. But this, we're just looking for balance.
So this is, I can tell this is very balanced. Yeah. So this is Messenger's espresso blend that we're using here. It's very balanced. Some of the things I'm getting is a little bit of a caramel taste in the back. Also some nuttiness. Really, what I'm liking about this in particular is it's well balanced, meaning it's starting and finishing at about the same level. It's not coming in and then kind of dying on the back end, which is what we call a high note,
Yeah.
or it's not coming in real soft and then like hanging in the back of your throat, which is what we call a low note. This, although it's very intense, it is pretty balanced, and I think if I was going to have coffee and this is like a kick in the mouth, but it's balanced.
Yeah.
How much caffeine? Well, we just took 25 grams, so you can think about a cup and a half of coffee in a very, very small dose.
Yeah. So you can get in trouble really quick.
I think I'm reaching that trouble spot here.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Talk about.
Yeah. So just pulled an espresso and made us some shots. Now, do a lot of people order coffee like that? Like, tell us about the ordering process of espresso, because my guess is that most people watching have never been too intimidated to order espresso. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So as far as like how common it is, I'd say it's probably about as common as like pour overs. Honestly, probably even more common than pour. So it's not super uncommon, but people probably order the most is going to be like lattes and cappuccinos that still use espresso, but it's just not espresso.
Yeah. So generally, when you come in, like, I guess what I'm trying to wrap my head around is like, why would someone want to come and have this tiny little cup of coffee? Like here in America, like we want the big cup.
Yeah.
So what's the appeal of the tiny cup?
Yeah, it's just like the overall experience of it. It's just different than coffee. Like getting like the coffee in a different, get like that full range of flavors, and it's just kind of like however you like to experience one way.
So when I'm faking reading my book in a coffee shop, I can also be just subtly sipping on something. And
like twist.
maybe I'll have a monocle at that point, adjusting my monocle. So, all right, so we've done espresso. Now, I'm going to guess most people probably aren't getting espressos. Let me see. Thank you for that, B Misfit. You're a little choppy because I come in a lot harder, so I'm going to try to the noise gate off. All right. Hopefully that'll fix it. If not, we can adjust his audio a little bit more. Have never done anything in this lab before. Hopefully, if we're well behaved, they'll let us come back. But if the audio is a little bit buggy, it's because we have never done it in here before.
Yeah. All right.
No, it's. I think there's a noise gate on there.
Yeah.
So try talking to people, see if that's any better.
Yeah. Can you guys hear better now?
Just you don't have not the big fat loudmouth like me.
Yeah.
So. All right. Thank you for that, B Misfit. We always try to.
Fact.
It's just. All right. Okay. So most people probably aren't going to be drinking espressos then. So why is it that this $5,000 behemoth, and we've already kind of talked about it a little bit, why is something like this in a coffee shop?
So because you are able to, you can buy like espresso machines that are smaller for home, but this one is just able to like continually keep liquid hot without having to like wait to heat it up. You're able to make like a high volume of drinks, and it's just able to keep going. And this is used for anything that we need to steam milk or use espresso with, which is pretty much everything.
So it'll steam. So this thing, we haven't got it. So let's see what this thing is.
So this just shoots steam out of the end of it. Yeah.
All right. So we have not only can it make espresso, it can also shoot steam. So let's see that steam shooting in action. Tell us about a drink that would use that would need to be steamed.
So this is used for what's called stretching milk. Anything like a latte or cappuccino is going to have steamed milk, and you use this to just add air into it, and what it does is that the steam shoots air bubbles in there, and then it also mixes the air bubbles into the milk. So you're ending up with milk that isn't like a layer of thick, bubbly foam on top, but it's foam that's mixed in. It's called microfoam.
Okay. So
Yeah,
show us one of those.
sweet. So, just like before, start with an espresso shot.
And another thing to note, we also are using Coffeehouse Wi-Fi right now, so if it is a little choppy, I apologize. These are all notes that we'll take.
Yeah. Sweet. So, we'll be using some whole milk. Whole milk with steam is the best.
So whole milk with steam is the best.
Yeah,
Probably the fat probably helps.
definitely. All right. So what I'm making is a latte, for reference.
Well, the sun's out today, but it's not really helping our camera view here. So you're making a latte. What is the latte?
So latte is just espresso and steamed milk, with a little bit of foam on it.
So is that dude on the clock? Are you on the clock right now?
I'm not.
So this, even though you do this all day,
Yeah.
hundreds of these, Kyle was nice enough to join us and pull some shots, make some lattes, and yeah, let me run this. So he's making a latte right now,
Is that a good idea?
and this is the infamous latte art.
Quarantine or COVID, haven't been using mugs, which has made me a little rusty.
Whoa, look at that!
Yeah.
What do you call that?
This is a tulip.
This is a tulip.
Yeah. No, it doesn't really.
That looks like a tulip to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're both vaccinated, B-Misfit, and here in America, we don't need any immunization cards.
There
Look
you
at
go.
that!
There you go. So this is a latte. It just has a little bit of foam on top. A cappuccino would be the same thing. It's espresso with steamed milk, except cappuccinos just have more foam. So, yeah.
That bad boy is Instagram ready.
Yeah.
Ooh. Now, Kyle, I gotta be honest with you. I've never had one of these.
Yeah.
Even though I see them on Instagram all the time, and I know people, I bet of the people here, these probably just get slang, just tossed out there.
What do you think?
Tastes like milk.
Yeah.
This is really cool. I think visually, I like it.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, it doesn't taste like coffee.
Yeah.
Don't really think you can call this coffee at this point.
Yeah.
In that it just tastes like warm, happy milk.
And that's the thing. That is like, what? You're putting 2 ounces into an 8 ounce. So it's like 90% milk.
So it's 90% milk. So it's like I'm a small child that has nightmares and they're trying to put me to sleep.
Yeah.
But there's also caffeine in it. What type of milk do you use? This is whole milk.
Yeah.
Generally, because of the fat.
Yeah. Yeah. It the fat, it just helps it steam better. Skim milk, there's not enough fat, so when you steam it, it just turns into like all foam. Yeah.
Well, I can see why people like it. Now, for me, this isn't coffee, but I got my Instagram shot taken, I got my caffeine for the day, and I drank warm milk. All right, so
The traditional Italian way is like 6 ounces for a cappuccino and then 8 ounces for a latte. So a cappuccino with 6 ounces would be more coffee flavored.
okay, so a cappuccino would have just less milk, so you
Yeah.
get more coffee. So
Yeah.
when you're talking about all these drinks, you're essentially just how much steamed milk you're putting on it, correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
What's foamed milk?
Foam.
Yeah.
So steamed milk is foam milk. So steamed milk is just because sometimes people think of it as like you have the coffee, you have the milk, and then you add the foam. But really, how it should be is that the foam is incorporated into the milk. So it's all like one airy, smooth, milky, hot mixture.
Could you make a cappuccino with this?
Yeah, I can do it right now.
Let's see a cappuccino,
All right.
because what I need to do is I'm going to mentally prepare myself, because I think I'm ready for you to try to show me how to make one. So,
Yeah.
and that's where the hilarity is going to ensue, kids, because this is way outside my comfort zone. I don't really know how to power up this robot, but I'm willing to try. But first, we're going to see the infamous cappuccino.
So I'll be doing this traditional 6-ounce cappuccino. Good. So now, if you compare, with that I added a lot more foam. And it's supposed to be cooler, but I accidentally made it too hot. Sweet. All right. There's cappuccino.
So this was the latte cup, and this little guy is cappuccino, but you arted it up for me still, huh?
Yeah.
Boy. Now, do you have to make the art, or tell us about?
No, so latte art is really, it's kind of like, first of all, it looks cool. Second of all, it's kind of like a way to see if something is like well made. Because you can really see like, you can tell by the latte art if like it's super foamy and you want it to be like smooth. Because when you're able to pour good latte art, that means that your milk is good. So then if you like order a cappuccino and like it has nice latte art, you know that it has good milk.
All right, so this is my first cappuccino ever. So the Bean Man now has cappuccino under his belt. This is coffee. So latte, in my opinion, not coffee.
Yeah.
Cappuccino is just coffee. I can taste the coffee. I can get some of the chocolatey, the nuttiness.
Yeah.
The milk is still very, very well pronounced, but enjoyable. So those of you ordering cappuccino, now note, he hasn't poured any sugar or anything on this. We've just been drinking milk and coffee at this point.
Yeah. And the usually those are made a little bit cooler, so it'll make the milk taste a little bit sweeter naturally. But that one was accidentally a little too hot.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't have much to compare it to, but
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Sweet. Do you mean to show something else? Could you do a cortado or a macchiato?
Let's do a cortado. So we'll do. Might as well get all the drinks here.
Yeah.
Let this machine do it. So a cortado.
Yeah. So a cortado is going to be espresso with whole milk, and it'll just be in this little tiny glass, or actually this little tiny glass, and it will be served much cooler. Cortado should be at the temperature where, if you wanted to, you could just like chug the whole thing and not burn yourself.
So chuggable, no burn. That's what we're looking for here.
just barely steamed it.
So just barely steamed it so that I'm able to chug. Full disclosure, if I chug one more of these, I'm going to fly out of this joint. So I will give you my, is it chuggable? But I feel like my heart is jumped up a couple of beats.
I'm not very good at latte art. Just tiny drinks.
I'll tell you what, I think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Look at that. Cute little flower. This is the best.
Really?
Because, well, it tastes like coffee.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it does have some, it is, I could just take a shot of it. Yeah, I would recommend the Cortado over really anything I've had, personally for me.
And I think this next thing is going to be your sweet spot.
Okay, so far, latte, not coffee. It's like as much, latte is as much coffee as soda is coffee. In that there's caffeine in there, it didn't get any, there was no coffee present. Cappuccino, coffee for 8-year-olds. Because it tasted like coffee, but it also had very, very much milk sweetness to it. This, we're starting to move into big boy coffee zone. Big boy and big girl, big people coffee zone.
Yeah.
Is this made with fat beans or messenger? It's made with messenger. So these are messenger coffee beans.
Yeah.
We decided this is their espresso blend.
Good stuff.
Very balanced, good blend. Tastes like I'm tasting a lot of Central Americans. Hopefully someday we'll get to talk to their roast master, get to pick their brain a little bit. But fat beans are not being roasted for espresso yet. I'm here trying to get a full understanding of espresso before I really start saying, "Hey, I'm making espresso beans." That's I think that's going to take a lot more education on my part.
Yeah. All right.
Guy on Fire, welcome in. We are in Kansas City, Missouri, downtown at Messenger Coffee Shop. So if you've not checked them out on all of the stuff because they are legit and they are letting us use their quality control lab where we are using their espresso machine to find out what Fat Beans likes as far as espresso. So recap: latte, cool art, not coffee; cappuccino, coffee. What'd you call this?
That's a cortado.
Cortado, kids.
Or
If you need the milk,
some people call it a Gibraltar.
a
So Gibraltar is the glass that it's served in. That's what you call the glass. So then some people call the drink a Gibraltar, or they call it a cortado.
Guys, if you put a little bit of Bailey's in this, look out. That's a Saturday night.
All right. And then this is a macchiato.
A macchiato. I've heard about it.
Yeah.
It's time for me to experience it. Full disclosure, I have had a macchiato. One.
Usually a macchiato will come with steamed half and half, but all we got is milk today, so.
So steamed half and half. Ooh,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
All right. So as you can see, this is like 90% espresso.
The coffee.
Can you see it?
There you go.
Yeah. So this is going to be like 90% espresso.
90% espresso.
And
That's my kind of art.
I
like it a lot. Listen, if I come into a coffee shop, I'm not expecting anything too arty. Here we go. This is where the eyes pop out of the old beat man's head. That's the best.
Yeah.
Okay, the espresso to me was lacking a little bit of balance. Just that little bit of milk kind of ties it all in. I'm getting a really rich creaminess from the milk, but it's just enough that the acid and bitter in the espresso that is can play a little bit of havoc has been calmed down by the milk, yet it's still all the coffee flavor that you desire is in here. So macchiato gets the Bean Man seal of approval. To the point where if I were, well, when I get into espresso, I could see myself I could see these two becoming something I look forward to.
Yeah.
The other two I would like to make for somebody, but I'm probably not going to be like, hey, I'm not, full disclosure, I'm not making a cappuccino for myself.
Yeah.
If I'm looking to get that, I'll go somewhere else. I want coffee taste. Now, these are interesting because with a little bit of cut milk, I can really taste the coffee, where just that little bit of milk that kind of balances out some of those harsher flavors, I can start to pick out things about this coffee, and you can really tell there's stone fruit on top of that. With the milk, you can taste the fruitiness.
Yeah.
So stone fruit is kind of weird in coffee. It's when you hear it, you're like, oh, it's going to taste like fruit juice. Now, stone fruit is like a feeling in your mouth. And I know that's like, when I first heard that, I was like, what the heck is that supposed to mean? And Kyle, maybe you can attest this. It's one of the high notes that comes in your mouth first. It balances out, but you're definitely, I don't know if you get that from this as well.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting it before we put a little milk on.
It's kind of like a savory fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
But with it being balanced like that, it's a lot more enjoyable. So if you are wondering about espresso, I mean, it's like taking a shot at a bar and saying, I want it just, nothing. If you were to go put a little bit of milk on, it's, in my opinion, just from sitting down here one time. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit more, acculturating myself to this type of coffee.
Yeah.
A little bit of milk on this. And then I guess you could put a little sugar on it to further extract. I probably wouldn't, but I'm going to guess a little bit of sugar is what people generally take this with. Is that correct?
Honestly, generally with, are you saying with the macchiato?
Well, with espresso in general.
Usually with like espresso, people that order espresso just drink it black. It's kind of those things. It's not really like there's not like if you're ordering espresso, you're already in pretty deep. You're already okay like drinking black coffee. So yeah, generally people just will drink it black. It traditionally will come served with like some sparkling water, and that'll just kind of
Cleanse your palate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And too, if it is like a really like, if it's like a harsher espresso or a harsher shot, then the sparkling water just kind of helps it not linger.
No, I get it. I mean, I can see the appeal.
Yeah.
It's allowing me to taste the coffee in a very unique way. As a person that tastes coffee a lot, this is giving me certain experiences, especially in the palate, that you really can't get as far as from filtered coffee. It's a very unique coffee experience, which is what we're all about here, is the coffee experience. So although I have been a espresso novice, I can definitely see why there's so big part of a coffee community developed around that. Now, I also know I can see why there's a big coffee around this, because it's not coffee.
Yeah.
But even this is very unique to the point where, as a person who roasts coffee, my brain is just going in multiple locations. Like, oh, you could do this kind of coffee, or you could mix it like this, or you could try to chase this flavor. So, very cool. So, let's let the Bean Man make some mistakes.
Yeah.
Walk me through it.
Okay. So this is pretty straightforward. You want to fill up the halfway, okay? And settle the ground while it's tapping it, and then fill it up to the rest of the.
Okay, so I'm filling it up, tapping it, and filling it up the rest of the way. That just packs it tight.
Yeah.
Or starts with the packing nature.
And then it'll like be like shifted to the side, kind of like that. You just kind of want to center everything, and then kind of give it a tap to like help it settle down. And then you can you just want to put pressure straight down. You don't want to like push too hard. Just kind of like push until you like start to feel the resistance,
Okay.
and then pull it straight out. Don't like twist it or anything.
Yeah, don't be cute.
Yeah.
Does that just create like pockets where the water will try to pool to? Or?
Yeah, if you twist it, so like when it's tamped, I don't know if you see, but around the edges there, it's like flush with the puck. So that's we say that the puck is seated in there. So if you like twist it, it'll unseat the puck to where it's like the grounds aren't like stuck inside. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. So this just goes in here like put it at an angle, twist it, and you just hit start. And then once it gets to the 50 milliliter, stop.
Okay.
And then for the steam one, do you want to try to steam it?
Yeah.
Sweet. So here, I can do one and like talk
Yeah.
myself through it. Okay.
This time I'll actually pay close attention.
Yeah.
Now that the pressure's on, as they were.
Because if you, it's possible for there to be like super hot note that just comes like flying out of it.
You gotta live bold.
Yeah. All right. You just go. Sweet. So then, when you're steaming, you want to you pull this out, and then you just want to submerge. You can see like how deep that is.
Yep.
Okay. So there's like that metal ring there. You just want to barely go until like a little bit of that is sticking out.
Okay.
And then when you start it, pull down slightly. And then after like a few trips, push back up. And then you just kind of want it to get that vortex there. And then when it gets like to the point where it feels like it's like too hot for you to hold, you wait like half a second, and then you just take this.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna test this.
Alright. And then the latte art. You want to start with the mug at an angle like this.
Okay.
And then you're going to have a thin, narrow stream that goes down. And then once it starts to get full, you get real close. And then latte art.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure here.
Sweet. Yeah, first $2.
Yeah. Please do. I have much more after I'm done.
Yeah. No, I'm like,
Alright, here we go.
Yeah.
That was a bold choice.
Yeah. I haven't been this jittery since last time.
Now we push ourselves to the utmost limit down here. We do it for you,
Yeah.
meatheads. Because this is it's hard to keep my hands straight right now. This is more caffeine I've had in a long time.
Oh, and then immediately after you're done steaming, go ahead and wipe this down, or else the dried milk will be like, okay, put it on there. Sweet. So, here, well.
Okay.
Ready to go. You don't need to measure. So just
Under or over?
Oops. It's not terrible. You don't need that.
I don't know what the. Oh, is it? It's,
Oh, yeah, it'll stop.
oh.
So, yeah, just
Oh.
keep going. Yeah. Sweet.
Fancy. This is tougher.
And then it's okay if there's like a bit of a mound, like if it's going over the top a little bit, you can still tamp it down.
Don't twist or anything, right?
Yeah, and you want to like push it against the ground. Some people say 30 pounds of pressure, but I think that that's too much.
Don't twist or anything.
No, yeah, just push down a little bit. Push down a little more. It should go till it's like about, yeah, that's good. Sweet. And then you want to like brush the ground off, just because there's a rubber gasket in here. And this is cool.
Okay, kids. Well, here we go. We do have some water, Mama J. Groban.
And then it goes the other way. So.
This is humbling.
And then kind of like pull it so it's tight. Okay. All right. And then what? The swirly button?
Swirl the button.
Oh, I don't think that. Oh wait, up there. All right. And then before you start, kind of, because at first there's like water that dribbles out, so just get the water out of the tip.
Oh, my shot. There it is.
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
Yeah. Looks good.
Woo! Barista. All right, so
So yeah, pull that out. Be careful because this will get really hot.
that's hot.
Yeah. So you can hold on for a second.
That's hot.
And not that deep. Pull it down about right there.
Touch the button.
Now, so you want it to be, you want there to be the most distance between the tip of the steam wand and the bottom of the mug as possible. So kind of angle it that way it's like all the way to yeah.
There.
Yeah. And right. Then pull it down a little more. All right, now push it down, but not too deep. Press it over. Then
That's on my knuckles.
shut it off. All right.
Ooh, I burned the old knuckles.
All right. Now,
That's hot on the knuckles. Okay, now pour it like this.
yeah.
Drown it in. Just
Yeah.
like the instruments, right?
Start above. Wait here. At first, tap your milk on the, and then give it like a little swirl.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Now thin stream.
Yeah. Thin stream to start. And once you get to the here, tilt it more. This one. Then
We're losing it.
and then get really close to the milk, as close as possible. There, see it showing up. Now just like lift up again. Drop through. There you go. That's it.
Voila, kids.
You did it.
Serve it up. I'm about to walk this out to the bar out there and make a little spare ching-a-ling.
All right.
Tastes pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not coffee, but it tastes good.
Sweet. Yeah. Do you want me to pour a swan?
All right, he's gonna pour a swan.
Swan.
Stop looking at me, swan. Hey, B Misfit, has that team scored a goal yet?
All right.
Well, that's a bummer. That's hard for the show.
What happened?
He was just alluding to a team score he's gonna slide on the gifted.
Oh. Bummer.
All right, so the Bean Man has now made his first latte, and it was not as bad. Well, you know what? There's an occupational hazard to this because my fingies got a little spicy, got a little hot on my fingers.
Definitely, like, I've noticed that this part of my hand that holds the mug is, like, not sensitive.
You gotta bleed. You gotta bleed for your art, kids.
Yeah.
What has been my favorite? Probably the macchiato or the Gibraltar. So, to be full disclosure, if it's going to have milk on it, I guess 20% or less for milk seems to be the most favorite. Kyle, what is your favorite type?
I'd say macchiato.
Is it macchiato? Now, do you like macchiato better than espresso, or do you like espresso better?
I like espresso best, but macchiatos are good.
So espresso the best, but if you have to take milk, just 10. Okay.
And I haven't been doing dairy, so, and I don't really like oat milk or almond milk, so I just drink everything black.
So when someone comes in and orders oat milk, like an oat milk latte, does that make the latte art worse because it's oat milk?
So oat milk is tougher, for sure. Every milk.
And he's making a swan here, people. That thing is freaking beautiful.
It's,
you get a little bit of it.
not the best.
It's better. I mean, it's not mine, obviously, but stop looking at me.
There we go.
There it is. So if you go into Black Dog Coffee House in Lenexa and say "swan it up," that's going to be flying to an Instagram near you.
Yeah.
So, latte. I get it. It's kind of fun to sit and kind of mess around. What is the most intense latte art you've ever seen?
So there's actually somebody who works here at Messenger. So it sounds kind of nerdy at first, but there was a latte art competition. It's like something that they do at coffee shops. They'll have like throwdowns. There was one competition where I ended up actually getting third place, but the guy that got first place, he poured a Pegasus. Like there was a tiny horse inside of his macchiato.
Can you drink something like that? Except I would imagine it would get pretty cold sitting there.
I mean, he does it fairly quickly. It probably takes him like 10 seconds, whereas this took like
10 seconds to make a
2
Pegasus?
seconds. Yeah, but
Winged horse?
It looks really cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I see the appeal. I feel like there is a feeling that you get your money's worth if it comes and there's a milk goose smiling at you.
Yeah.
So there it is, and Kyle, go ahead and print his art there.
Yeah. Actually,
So we've made a lot of coffee, and unfortunately, we've drank a lot of coffee. Brian, where's your latte art? I poured it out. It's gone. It was an abomination to the coffee community, and Messenger came in. They said, "Hey, you can't have that in our coffee shop." It was so bad. So the king of Messenger came in and said, "You have to dump it out." So I dumped it in the sink. That's kind of fun. I can definitely see where the drinking it was okay, but the making it was a lot more fun.
honestly,
Can you
it's
steam?
really good.
Can you steam chocolate milk?
Yeah. Yeah, you can, definitely. Actually, the shop that I work at, they have a mocha where we just steam chocolate milk with espresso.
So you can steam chocolate milk. So you can even make it even less like coffee, in that you're adding chocolate syrup to it.
I found a video. Somebody made scrambled eggs with a steam.
Don't do that.
You can do that.
I guess if it can be thought of, it probably can be done.
You can steam anything.
You can steam. There it is. Mark it down. You can steam anything.
Yeah.
So, I guess before we go, because we do have to appreciate the fact that we are on, we did rent this, well, we did ask for this space. So we can't, if it was up to me, I would just sit and there's all sorts of equipment in here and just spend all day in here. But I do have a couple of questions for you as far as coffee goes. Now, we've been introducing the idea that, so just give you a kind of understanding if this is your first time meeting Kyle Ross. Kyle Ross, he works at Black Dog Coffee, which is a coffee house in Lenexa, Kansas, just a suburb of Kansas City. Black Dog and Messenger are actually in cahoots. They work in close proximity, so that's why we were able to get access to all of this expensive equipment and let this moron show up and use it. So that is kind of why we're here, but what kind of the relationship that Kyle and I are forming live here on Twitch is that I am the roast. Like, I like the roast. That's the science of it. Kyle is really into you've been in coffee really most of your professional career, correct?
Yeah.
So when we started talking, it would seem like we would be from different worlds, where roasting and baristaing it's similar, but it can be very different in that I'm messing with green beans. I'm trying to get a roasted profile, and then it goes off and it gets turned into neat drinks and all the other things. Where he's more on the servicing a customer, creating a product, fine tuning flavors, talking to customers. So it would seem like we probably wouldn't have that much in common, but when we both started talking about what we view coffee is, it's from my roasting standpoint of trying to educate as many people as possible, get as many people interested in coffee as possible, and from his brewing standpoint, it was almost lockstep. It was exactly the same where we're both very big into the education side, we're both very big into the approachability side, which so as we've been kind of talking and doing these things, we've been kind of saying like, where's the next thing? For me, I want to roast as much coffee as possible, and just keep expanding. Where servicing, the everyday Joe, but maybe someday move into the higher ends like espresso and the very upper end competitions.
Yeah.
Kyle wants to just start. You would like to see some of your career move to serving coffee, right?
Yeah.
At the coffee house. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So like my ultimate dream would be to open up a coffee shop of my own. I just love sharing like my passion for specialty coffee with other people, and kind of like opening the door for them in a way that like there's no barriers or like you shouldn't have any fear walking into a coffee shop. And I just want to like kind of open people's minds. So it's like my mission and your mission are like kind of the same, just different avenues for that.
So when we first came up with the idea of roasting at the coffee shop,
Yeah.
I was talking with Kyle, and I actually proxy through Belmarte,
Yeah.
which now that it's summer, we probably will build a better rapport that we're not so busy. But my plan was just to roast coffee. He said, have you thought about serving coffee there? And I was like, well, I want to be able to roast. And for me, if serving coffee would be cool, but if it takes away from roasting it all, it kind of loses it for me. So we said, hey, why don't we partner up?
Yeah.
And why don't you? We have the space already. Why don't you come when you can? And why don't we start doing some of the pour overs, doing some of the AeroPresses, doing some cold brew? Nothing like obviously we can't get to anything like this yet, but let's both try to grow our dream at the same level. Where my dream is roasting, your dream is serving coffee. Both of our dreams is communicating coffee. Let's just start at at the farmer's market and see where it goes. So what Kyle and I have decided to do is, partner up and, we're going to start with 6 times. Now that's municipality rules and stuff. It doesn't matter. But what we're going to do is starting June 5th at the Miriam Market, Kyle's going to join me. We're going to have the roasting machine and we're going to try to serve coffee.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to do a pour over. We're going to try to do an AeroPress, and we're going to try to make a cold brew. I'm hoping, now I haven't talked about Kyle with this, so I'll hit him on the air, so, put him on the pressure. But I've been talking with Kyle. I think over the next 2 weeks, we need to figure out some recipes.
Yeah.
And I think we need to do that for the Beanheads.
Yeah.
So be looking for the next 2 weeks. Probably not anything this fancy, because you can't come into Messenger with fat beans. Like, that's not fair to them. So we'll probably go down to into my minivan, where we'll go to the van, which it's decorated similar to this. But we'll go to the van and we're going to start coming up with some recipes.
Yeah.
And I think this is really where Kyle is going to help me because I'm standing behind a roaster, but it'll be kind of cool for you to be able to talk to the roaster directly. I don't
definitely.
Here I am trying to interject myself.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always, Messenger is amazing, and I'm so thankful that they're letting us use the space. But I'm always thinking, like, man, I wish they would do this or that. So having the opportunity to like talk to your roaster.
Yeah, and it's not that they're not doing it because it's like I know a piece of information. They're professionals. I'm an amateur. Like I'm just a guy who during COVID couldn't get Messenger anymore. So I was like, I got to make my own, and then I kind of enjoyed it. By no means like this isn't me being like, well, it's because no, it's that I can buy 5 pounds of something and spend a month with it, whereas they're going through like we went through 2 pounds just screwing around with geese all day.
Yeah.
So if they were just to get 5 pounds of something, extremely rare, they'd blow through it in a second. Where I can buy something that's rare and really keep roasting it. Where Kyle's like, I think it should do this, or it'd be really cool if it did this. And I think that is what I'm most excited for. Because as I'm learning, to have someone say, make your coffee do this, kind of puts me in a spot of, okay, I have to perform better. So you have spent 0 times watching Fat Beans Coffee. Well, you need to spend more time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we are going to start doing that. And we're going to put it on Twitch. That's kind of why we're doing this, even though we're getting some drop. Right? You have it set up wrong. Well, of course I have it set up wrong. I'm still working. Still getting that figured out. I'm not at your Twitch standards, Peebus. It's supposed to say my total. Your total watch time is, you've been doing good, Peebus. But anyway, so that's kind of our plan for June. And hopefully we can put it on Twitch and you guys can see us figure it out together. Because if nothing else, we're learning and growing. Another thing I want to spring on you, Kyle, because that's what I like to do. I like to get in front of people and then make you do it. No. You talked about competitions.
Yeah.
Tell us about brewing competitions. Since we got a couple more minutes, tell us about competitions.
So there's various competitions in the coffee world. They have like I mentioned before, like local latte art competitions. There's a thing called the World Barista Championship where they serve espresso and they do lattes and stuff like that. But then what I'm really interested in are brewing championships, like things like pour overs and stuff. So I've toyed with the idea. I'm not nearly at the level of most of those people that compete in those, but I've toyed with the idea of just like giving it a shot to see what I can learn and then going from there. And with that, I would need some beans.
I think that's probably, while we're building our brand as far as selling stuff, I think that really enters us back to even the Twitch world. I think that's really cool. And although it's going to take me getting to the point where you're at, I'm going to have to play a little bit of catch up as far as roasting, but I'm up for a challenge. I think so. What are there competitions around here? Like, could we just start joining those? Like,
I'll have to look into that.
Okay. You need, I think, and I'll look into it too.
Yeah.
But I think we start just joining, and I'll be kind of like, I'll be like, I'm not saying I'll be your sponsor, but like, just we have the beans there. Yeah. I'll go because I like to do that for whatever reason, but at least it gives us content where then you can see us all on a professional circuit.
Yeah.
I think it would be really cool, and I think we just need to talk about what we need as far as equipment and getting good. If I was to say that any money that I was going to make, we could invest in our professional coffee team, I'd rather grow there than anywhere else. Because then, like barbecue, you start, on the barbecue circuit, and then you open your restaurant. I don't think it means anything. Championship brewers and roasters. So I think really cool. I think we were able to really discuss some things. And so a recap: latte, all milk, cappuccino, mostly milk, Gibraltar. What was else? Cortado.
Yeah.
Quarter of the milk. Macchiato, not that much milk. Espresso, no milk.
Yeah.
So those of you that go to a coffee shop, now you can go with a little bit more confidence than you've had in the past. So ask yourself at the coffee shop. If you're in a coffee shop and say, I don't want coffee, I just want caffeine, latte, get your goose. If you're like, hey, I want to taste a little bit of coffee, cappuccino. Belvarte, you going to jump in here? She's done.
I'm done. Packed up, successful first day selling here at Messenger Coffee.
Yeah.
So we're just a couple of small business people here, huh?
Just a bunch of nerds with a dream, blowing through their Saturdays at a coffee shop.
Yeah. Finding other jobs besides our real careers.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Because we're nerds.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to take such a nap when we get home.
It's been a long day.
It's been a good long day. Honest work.
Yeah. I may never nap again.
Yeah, you guys are gonna be like
Yeah.
hyped up for good.
Just liquid coffee blowing through my veins.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for inviting. I don't know.
Now, if you're wanting to taste, if you're like, hey, I think this place has good coffee, naps are for babies. I mean, yeah. Then I would say cortado or a macchiato. And if
Yeah.
you're really feeling like getting your mustache game up, hit that espresso. I'm like the Energizer. You are like you have another gear that I've never seen before. We all can't live in the misfit land though, so take the naps. And if you can't get naps, plenty of options for you to get yourself into at your local coffee shop. Or if you're willing to spend a couple $1,000, start firing cappuccinos at your own house.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's been a successful show. More so because I can't focus anymore. The caffeine's really hitting me.
Yeah.
I'm mainlined right now. But thanks for stopping in, Kyle. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure when you can join the Beanheads.
Absolutely.
I think that hopefully we didn't mess up too bad. They might invite us back sometime
Yeah.
because I think this is a cool space where a lot of cool things can still happen. A lot can be learned. Maybe hopefully someday we can expand where they let what they show us, or become when they're actually roasting. See what pros do. But other than that, thanks for joining us. I'm glad we were able to finally have the show here, and thank you for joining us on a Saturday afternoon. So take your naps, unless you don't need them. And I will see you guys on Monday. I'll be roasting again with a lot more things to think about. Stay caffeinated, not this caffeinated. Don't get this caffeinated, but stay caffeinated. Kyle, any last words for the people?
I'm excited for the farmers market. You guys will have to come out.
How
Thanks
do,
for watching.
how do I get that beard? I smashed cookies on my face. So anyway, I will see you guys on the other side, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Yeah.